A very good evening to you and welcome to the News at 9, live from the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Sekara. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Headlines on Newsfirst at 9.
2014 budgets of the UPFA governed Jail Urban Council and Dompe Pradeshia Sabha defeated. UPFA decides to suspend memberships of local government representatives who voted against local council budgets. Year 5 scholarship cut-off marks for numerous popular schools, including 6 prominent boys' schools, not issued.
News First at 9.
On to your top story tonight.
The 2014 budget of another United People's Freedom Alliance controlled local government institution was defeated today. The local government budget that was defeated was that of the Jail Urban Council. 1 vote was cast for the 2014 budget, while 8 votes were cast against. All members of the Jail Urban Council, except its chairman, had exercised their vote. They completely disregarded what was said by His Excellency the President, Alliance Leader Susil Premajayantha, Chief Minister Prasanna Ranatunga, and the facts explained by the political leadership. I called for a disciplinary inquiry into the voting against the budget. The chairman has done nothing for development. We passed the 2013 budget, but the Honourable Chairman did nothing for us.
The funds of the Urban Council are being used by him as he wishes. He allocates funds only for his division. Taking this into consideration, we oppose the budget.
The Dompe Pradeshia Sabha budget was also defeated today. The budget received 8 votes for and 14 votes against. There were problems in the Pradeshia Sabha which we constantly highlighted, but a fair solution was not provided. That is why we reached this decision. The party has taken a decision. The General Secretary informed that measures would not be taken to defeat the budgets. We believe that the party will provide a fair verdict. Incidentally, the 2014 budget of the Norelia Municipal Council was passed today. 8 votes were cast in favour of the budget, while 2 opposition members abstained from voting. The 2014 budgets of the Ududumbara, Kasbawa, Bope, Poddala and Homagama local government institutions were defeated. The budgets of local government institutions in Gaul, Tunpane and Wattala were passed. Now, on a related note, United People's Freedom Alliance councillors who voted to intentionally defeat budgets of UPFA-controlled local government institutions will be suspended from the party.
Issuing a communique, UPFA General Secretary Minister Susil Premajayantha said the Elections Commissioner will be notified once such councillors are suspended.
Now, the communique reads that the parties of local government representatives will also be informed about the suspension and necessary steps will be initiated based on disciplinary action taken by the respective constituent parties. It is also stated that a decision has not been taken to appoint the Deputy Chairman of the position of Chairman when the budget of local government institution is defeated. The communique notes that a decision was reached that a councillor recommended by the party secretary will be appointed to the position of Chairman. Well, you can catch the heated debate on the defeat of local council budgets on our special segment Newsline on the main news bulletin at 10 o'clock tonight on our sister channel Sirisa TV.
We'll be right back after this break. Now, is the government gearing up to dissolve the Western and Southern Provincial Councils?
A statement made by Minister Susil Premajayantha in Parliament today hinted at such a possibility.
They have appointed a leadership council to take power. Where in the world do they have theories on leadership councils? There should be only one leader. This is an abomination. You can form as many leadership councils as you want, but the alliance will win these 2 elections as well. The provincial councils will be dissolved in 2 weeks' time. Therefore, we challenge you to secure victory in the West and the South. We challenge you.
Also in news from the House of Legislation, United National Party parliamentarian Ravi Karunanayake, speaking in Parliament today, raised a question on the annual monetary reserves of Sri Lanka cricket as well as the cricket broadcasting rights. It was 96 million in 2009, 341 million in 2010. We had a debt of 333 million in 2011. In 2012, it stood at 476 million. Revenue generated through the sale of cricket broadcasting rights stood at $9 million in 2009, 15 in 2010, 1 in 2011, and 16 in 2012. However, the funds in the cricket board have reduced. The Bangladesh Cricket Board has earned 3 times as much as the Sri Lanka Cricket Board. Why have our funds reduced? Is it because of corruption? We received a number of tournaments during one period. The income increases when you receive more tournaments. You lost 3 million as you had to obey the instructions of the Attorney General's department. Who pocketed 400 million? No one has pocketed it. When SLRC was broadcasting in 2010, a case was filed because the broadcast was picked up in South India as well. The case went before the Attorney General's department and we had to reach a settlement. That is why $3 million was reduced, and that is a loss. I accept it.
US million තුනක් අඩු කරලා තියෙන එක අපිට පාඩුවක් වෙලා තියෙනවා කියන එක පිළිගන්නවා.
By handing over rights to Carlton Sports Network, the Sri Lanka Cricket Board has lost out on income opportunities that were available when the broadcasts were carried by Rupavahini or Sirasa and MTV.
CSN එකට විකාශන අයිතිය ලබා දීමේ අපිට කිසිදු අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ.
We have no need to hand over broadcast rights to CSN. We called for tenders. MTV, Rupavahini and ITN can apply. We published advertisements on newspapers. CSN was the highest bidder when compared to the prices paid by Rupavahini earlier. We benefit financially from this deal. MTV Channels Private Limited denies assertions made that it made a bid for broadcast rights to Sri Lanka cricket.
You're watching News First. Up next is Action TV.
The cut-off marks for the enrollment of students to grade 6 of popular schools based on the results of the Year 5 scholarship examination held this August were released last night. The intention of the pioneer of the Year 5 scholarship examination, late Minister Dr. C.W.W. Kannangara, was to ensure that power and wealth would not come in the way in ensuring a better scope of education for underprivileged and talented students from rural areas. In addition to the Year 5 scholarship examination, if successive governments had taken steps to implement measures taken in the former part of the 1940s as intended even after independence, then there is a possibility that the school system in the country would have progressed to ensure minimum disparity between rural and urban education, undermining the need for a Year 5 scholarship examination. Given that there has been a widening in the disparity rather than progress, the Year 5 scholarship examination has now become a rat race of a competition for both children and parents alike. Although students who pass the examination receive a scholarship, the parents' primary concern is having their children enrolled in a popular school and not the scholarship itself. While these popular schools are simply schools that have received the label of popular as per the whim of education authorities, they are not schools that were created through the distribution of material and human resources by the education authorities. Underprivileged children and their parents engage in the rat race, targeting popular schools created in this manner. However, the cut-off marks released last night make it evident that these underprivileged children will not be able to gain enrollment into several popular urban schools which are preferred for their material and human resources. These include the boys' schools of Rahula in Matara, Kingswood in Kandy, Isipathan and Ashoka in Colombo and St. Servatius in Matara. Given the fact that compared to the 149 popular schools listed in the Year 5 scholarships over the past 6 years, there are now 167 popular schools, it would appear that authorities have created popular schools as per their whim, closing the doors of the preferred popular schools of the parents and children. It would appear that 6 popular boys' schools which have made arrangements to accept students who have passed the Year 5 scholarship examination will not be doing so this time around, given that the Ministry of Education has not released the cut-off marks for these schools. The number of vacancies for Year 5 scholarship students at the 167 schools for which cut-off marks have been released has also not been announced. As a result, some students who are qualified to enter certain popular schools as per the cut-off marks will now have to face additional hurdles. The creation of such a competition would completely undermine the fundamentals of the Year 5 scholarship examination. Against such a backdrop, how did vacancies reserved for Year 5 scholarship students at some schools fill up beforehand? Shouldn't education authorities who allow the issue to come to this pass be called upon to serve justice to the students themselves? Secretary to the President, this is over to you.
Now you can express your views on this story by logging on to our website newsfirst.lk. You can also connect with us on Twitter on our handle at newsfirst_en and mention the story using #LKsCalls.
Alternatively, you can comment on this story by visiting our Facebook page, facebook.com/newsfirst.english. Now moving on to other local news, fishermen in the Negombo and Wenapur areas engaged in a protest today, citing a number of demands.
A group of fishermen who utilize multi-day fishing vessels engaged in a protest at the Topur junction, blocking several main roads. The protesters charged that they do not receive fuel subsidy and also called on officials to stop foreign fishing vessels from entering into Sri Lankan waters. They also called on the authorities to take steps to free Sri Lankan fishermen in Indian custody.
My son, my husband and my son-in-law all have been captured. We have no way of surviving.
These individuals who were taken hostage are in Indian prison camps. They engage in discussions, but we don't receive any solutions. The protesters dispersed after Deputy Minister of Fisheries Sarath Kumara Gunaratne arrived at the location and promised them an opportunity to air their grievances to the President. Meanwhile, fishermen in the Negombo area engaged in a protest today, charging that they have not received the fuel subsidy over the past 7 months. We haven't received the subsidy in 7 months. We are left helpless. A situation has arisen where we can't ply our trade. We haven't received any subsidy. They stopped it 7 months ago. We engage in our activities amidst great difficulties. I spent 60,000 rupees on fuel yesterday alone. The main cause behind this is the lack of diplomatic intervention on the part of the government. The government of Sri Lanka should intervene diplomatically to free Sri Lankan fishermen in Indian custody.
We accept
that Sri Lankan fishermen entering Indian waters is wrong. However, Tamil Nadu is not out to exact vengeance. We are continuing to carry our discussions with the Indian government. On the 16th of June, fishermen who attended the Newsfirst Gum at the program raised the issue of fuel subsidies not being granted. We have not received anything for the past 3 months. I would like to ask you, what is causing this delay? We are currently in the process of distributing relief among the fishermen. This area did not receive anything for the past 3 months. The stocks have arrived at the main office and it will be distributed in the coming days. We inquired about the matter from the minister once again today, as the fishermen had not received their fuel subsidies. We are planning to cancel the fuel subsidy in 2014 and instead pay a sum to improve their vessels and equipment. Thereby, multi-day fishing vessels will receive 374,000 rupees. Single-day fishing vessels will receive 230,000 rupees, while other vessels will receive 112,000 rupees.
මුදලක් ලබා දෙන්නට තීන්දුව කරා.